Let's start with the AFC East. The New England Patriots, for the first time since the 2001 season, they will be starting with a quarterback not named Tom Brady. Obviously, that was Drew Bledsoe. And the 20-year marriage of Belichick and Brady has been dissolved. And it's Cam Newton stepping in for a New England Patriots team that had several players opt out. And who knows what the Patriots will look like this season. Nobody knows. We just know that they will trust in Bill Belichick. What will the hoodie do with Cam Newton for a team that lost a bunch of players opting out in the COVID-19 pandemic era? That's the Patriots, the Bills. Is this the time, finally, for them to take control of this division that nobody a few years ago even saw coming, potentially? The drafting of Josh Allen. The Bills hoped that he would be the next guy. And he is seemingly building towards being a franchise quarterback in Buffalo, which acquired Stephon Diggs to add to a stout team that hit teams in the mouth repeatedly, like the Dallas Cowboys on Thanksgiving last year. Is it time for Sean McDermott and the Bills to take over the AFC East? That is what's set up for the Western New York crazies in the Bills Mafia. The Dolphins, tanking at this point last year. Everyone accused them of doing so. They won just enough games, however, to have some hope going into this year with Ryan Fitzpatrick starting at quarterback and Tua waiting in the wings for a team that did get Byron Jones, that did get Kyle Van Noy, that does have an opportunity in front of them. Peter King joining us in the second hour thinks they win this division. Can the Dolphins do it? And then there's the Jets. Is Adam Gase on the hot seat coming into the season? What is the scoop with Le'Veon Bell? Sam Darnold, do they have anything around him enough, even with Mekhi Becton, who they drafted at 7 feet 12 tall? Do they have enough to evaluate Sam Darnold? What is this team going to look like defensively with Jamal Adams now on Seattle and C.J. Mosley opting out? A crucial year for the Jets with a new general manager and owner who may be no longer the ambassador to the UK by the time the playoffs hit. That's lots of flux there. In the AFC North, the Baltimore Ravens with the defending MVP Lamar Jackson coming into this season after being one and done despite being the one seed for the first time in their lives. Calais Campbell was a big addition for that defensive line that could not stop Derrick Henry. Earl Thomas was jettisoned shockingly, surprisingly, but maybe not to them. Can the Ravens take control of this division once again with the Pittsburgh Steelers getting Big Ben back? That's the storyline there. Mike Tomlin with one of the best coaching jobs of his career. They were 8-8 with all sorts of different quarterbacks last year. But Big Ben is back with a defense that does appear to have a Defensive Player of the Year candidate in TJ Watt. Can the Steelers get back in the playoffs? The Browns, my gosh. Do they have the right coach in Kevin Stefanski? Last year, they certainly did not. Last year at this time, there was all sorts of hard knocks hype for this team. Do they finally have the right mix for this quarterback, Baker Mayfield, entering a very crucial evaluation year for him? Is Myles Garrett going to be a Defensive Player of the Year candidate, even though he admitted he thought of quitting football based on what happened with him last year? Are they ready, chemistry-wise, to put something together to get the Browns back in the playoffs? And the Bengals have Joey Burrow. That's it for their storyline. That's it. What will Joe Burrow look like? The top overall pick in the draft is going to get thrown right into the deep end of the AFC North pool. AFC South tonight. Deshaun Watson with the bag. His aid, 4 years, $160 million. But DeAndre Hopkins, somehow, someway, no longer part of this team. They decided to trade him away for David Johnson, who is now 3 years removed from having a season that nobody saw coming for the kid out of Northern Iowa. Can he, with Bill O'Brien, in this offense with Deshaun Watson, now with Brandon Cooks on his, 18th NFL team, Chris?
Seems like it.
Brandon Cooks with Kenny Stills. Can Will Fuller stay healthy? Randall Cobb is there. Is that the receiving core, minus DeAndre Hopkins altogether, that can get the Texans with J.J. Watt potentially finally in the Super Bowl? J.J. Watt, can he stay healthy all year long? What will that team look like defensively? The Tennessee Titans came so close to the Super Bowl. What about a full season for Ryan Tannehill? What if Derrick Henry is going to show anywhere on the tread on these remarkable tires that he is steamrolling the rest of the league with? Jadeveon Clowney, does that make this team even better on defense? It sure appears to be so. Can they put it all together in an offense that hardly anybody drafts in fantasy football outside of Derrick Henry? But they don't care about fantasy football. They play real football, and that's a real grown-ass man, number 22, that's on the screen right there. Can they get to the Super Bowl this year with Ryan Tannehill? The Colts, Phillip Rivers, playing for a team not named the Chargers for the first time since he was the quarterback at NC State. The diminishing returns we saw from Phillip Rivers the last couple of years, even though he took the team to the playoffs 2 years ago. The Phillip Rivers diminishing returns we saw last year particularly, is that the Phillip Rivers going to show up in Indianapolis? I say no. I say that offensive line is the best one he's ever had that won't have revolving doors thanks to injury like he's had in San Diego and Los Angeles. He's got a great running game behind him. The Colts have DeForest Buckner now on the defensive line. He's our first guest on this show coming up in this first hour. Phillip Rivers, new lease on life. Can he get the Indianapolis Colts back to the Super Bowl? And then there's the Jaguars. Everybody believes they are tanking. In the NFL, there is no tanking. The Jaguars will try their ass off each and every week against Indianapolis first up. But what you do in the NFL when you try to, if you will, get the first overall pick and tank is you remove all the talented players you possibly can one by one before the season begins. And that sure appears to be what the Jaguars did with Yannick Ngakoue and obviously Leonard Fournette. To say Leonard Fournette is not the best running back for them to give them a chance to win was quite a shocking thing here from Doug Marrone. Let's see if they actually can put it into practice by winning and losing. And if they don't, this is the storyline arc for Jacksonville. 2 words, Trevor Lawrence. In the AFC West, can the Kansas City Chiefs become the first team since the 2004 Patriots to repeat as Super Bowl champions? It sure looks like they can. They did everything right. They signed their coach. They signed their general manager. They got Patrick Mahomes under contract for 10 freaking years. They made sure Chris Jones didn't turn into Yannick Ngakoue. They made sure that the guy that they had put on the franchise tag was going to get signed long-term and will be a happy camper in the middle of that crucial part of the defense that still has Tyrann Mathieu, that still has playmakers all over the lot. 18 of 22 Super Bowl starters returned for that man, Andy Reid. And they don't have that Super Bowl hangover possibility because they haven't been out and about at restaurants or on vacation to hear how great they are, to be on one circuit after another, make this appearance, make that appearance. Nobody's been making any appearances. Travis Kelce is living his best life. He signed 2. It sure appears like they are set for another run in Kansas City. And then the rest of the division, who can knock them off? Can it be the Los Angeles Chargers with Tyrod Taylor? How quickly can he get off in a winning way? Because if not, Justin Herbert is waiting in the wings potentially to get his feet wet in this division, like, say, Drew Lock was able to do last year at the end of the season for the Denver Broncos. Can Justin Herbert get on the field? Will Tyrod Taylor allow him with his play to get on the field? Joey Bosa and the rest of that defense will be without Derwin James. We'll see how this plays out with Austin Eckler. Can he be a bell cow back? What about the Denver Broncos having lost Von Miller potentially for the entire season right here, right now? Right on the eve. It was supposed to be him and Bradley Chubb back together again. Chubb couldn't play all last year. Now it looks like Von Miller couldn't play, won't be able to play all this year. But Locke does have Melvin Ingram and Phillip Lindsay behind him, does have Jerry Jeudy with Cortland Sutton and Noah Fant. This is my sleeper team. It was my sleeper team coming into the season. I can't back down just because Von Miller's out for the entire year. And then what about the Las Vegas Raiders? What about the Las Vegas Raiders?
16-0, man.
That's right. Derek Carr, this is it, because that guy, 16-0, man, not Caliendo, but Gruden. Itchy Gruden trigger finger at the quarterback spot. Now, Marcus Mariota is not healthy for the beginning of this season, so I don't think Nathan Peterman is going to be the guy if Carr falters. But this is a crucial season for Derek Carr, and he's got weapons all over the lot. Last year, Mayock and Gruden had Antonio Brown right there. We all know that implosion took place, and they were missing playmakers out wide. They did discover tight end Darren Waller. Let's see what he looks like in a season where everybody's not going to be sleeping on him. Josh Jacobs, Henry Ruggs. The Raiders can go throw deep, baby. They can do it. Defensively, they got a kid in Max Crosby that could be a Defensive Player of the Year candidate. You don't know. I don't know about the Raiders, but it's going to be fun to watch them. That's your AFC. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.